Hey everyone, we're going to take a look at Bitcoin today as we've seen a rejection at this key level of 21.5k and whether we can expect further downside or whether we can expect a move higher and what levels we should be looking out for. I'll give you what I think is the most likely scenario from here. So if that sounds good to you and you want to stay on the right side of the market for someone who's been trading this market for about 6 years, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel, and without further ado, let's get straight into it. So in the last video, we spoke about Bitcoin most likely having a pullback, and that is exactly what has been happening in the short term. And we maintain our target of at least filling the CME gap of about $20,000. And then we've even got some levels down below us at about 19.3 that we want to be looking out for. And we've been speaking about this key order block and level of the FTX crash, okay, which is about this area between 20,000 and 21,500. And you can see as we moved here, just like I said with a lot of the other altcoins, is that we're in some like pretty important order blocks over here where we're looking for some bearish structures to potentially form. And you can see that we had this rising channel, and rising channels typically tend to break down to the downside. And you know, it's actually a little bit clearer on some of the other altcoins. But what happened yesterday as well is that I said keep an eye on the DXY, because as soon as we got this fourth high, okay, and took this out, we closed back down sharply below with a 5 to 6% correction. And you can see what happened on the DXY is exactly down here at about 101, 105. We said we're in a downsloping channel, which typically tend to break to the upside. And we're at this key order block for the DXY, so we're expecting a little bit more relief here, and that's probably going to put a little bit more pressure on Bitcoin to move lower. So long as Bitcoin doesn't get any weekly closes or any significant closes about 21.5, any move up here, okay, that gets pushed and slammed back down has to be labeled as a fake out. And guys, I want you to take a look at the 4-hour RSI chart, and the last 10 times that we have actually pushed into this overbought territory of about 75 to 90 on the RSI with these impulsive moves to the upside, every single time we have seen a push back down all the way down to this 38.40 level over here every single time we push back up, okay, or we've even seen moves you know, most of the time actually come down to this 30 RSI level, and we haven't actually you know, pushed back down on the RSI on the 4-hour chart back down to the 38 or the 30. Okay, so this tells me that the correction in Bitcoin still has a little bit of a ways to go. Now we can correct sideways here, or we can move further down in price. But what I also wanted to show you is that I checked out these last 10 times that we went back to the RSI and went into these overbought territories, and 90% of the time we have corrected at the very least 9 to 10% from the highs, but a lot of the times 20%, 15% as well. So that would tell me that, you know, based on historical data, so far we've pushed down about 5-6%. If we went down to that 10% level, okay, that would again bring us down to about that 19.3, which is the most common correction from those levels on the RSI. And if we even push down a little bit further into that 15 level, then that would take us down to that level that we spoke about at about 18.3, and that would still be a fairly healthy correction for Bitcoin. So my advice to you at these levels is still wait and be patient. So the most likely support level that we're going to reach immediately is still going to be 20k, which is the CME gap, and a lot of people are going to have their stop losses here probably about that 20.2 level, which is this red candle after the impulsive move. So there's going to be a little bit of liquidity and you know, stops to chase all the way back down here. So we could see support back down here, and again, that's historically at these levels where we've seen that first level of real support kick in, and maybe we can hold this level and then possibly move higher, and then that will be some kind of like cup and handle formation where we basically move back down here, okay, and then basically potentially move higher. That is one scenario. And then the next one would be somewhere in this level over here, okay, at about 19.3. And during this impulsive move, we have so far only corrected down to the 236. So that would be an extremely bullish scenario. But I still think that the most likely scenario, again, is at least a push down into these levels in the 20Ks, or potentially this fib level here, which is in confluence with 19.3, 19.4 at about the 0.382. And if you followed some of the videos that we made earlier in the week, such as Ethereum, you'd have seen exactly how to stay level-headed and how to trade these order blocks and how to move back to the downside. And it is exactly what happened. So check that video out here if you have missed it already. But you can see for Bitcoin, we were moving in this upsloping channel over here. And you can see that every time we made a high on the RSI, when we made a higher high in price, which was these 4 peaks over here, you can see that the RSI on the hourly was telling you that we're getting weaker, and whenever we get triple or quadruple divergence on the RSI, you're typically looking for a snapback and a breakdown from that pattern. If we take a look at the volume profile for Bitcoin at these levels, you can see that these levels, okay, where we don't have, okay, a lot of volume, basically tells you that nobody likes to stay or hang at these levels for a very long time. So we either get slices straight all the way down, or we get these massive moves back to the upside. We're currently at a low volume area, so I'm expecting Bitcoin to make a decision fairly quickly whether we move higher and re-challenge these highs at 21.5, which I think is the less likely scenario, or if we move down to this lower block over here at about 19.7, which is probably going to be the more likely. And if we move down here, don't expect Bitcoin to stay very long. I don't expect Bitcoin to just fall through the floor, but I am expecting some support over here and a re-challenge, okay, at these levels at a later time, maybe in the next few weeks or so. We also know how important the daily 200 is for Bitcoin, especially in these bear markets where we've broken out from. And as it's the first time that we've really done it properly in this bear market, we want to see if we can hold that. And again, we've got more confluence here coming in at about 19.7. So this whole area, okay, is an area that we want to hold, and we can come back down here. We might even wick down below it for like a day or two, but we really want to see us hold here and then potentially move up higher. So if we can hold the 200-day here, and then we can move up higher and take out these highs cleanly at 21.7, then this is really going to open up the door to take out these highs at about 22, and maybe at least challenge this order block that I mentioned in the last video, which is going to be that 24K level for Bitcoin. It's pretty simple here for Bitcoin, is that you wait and chill for these lower levels. In my opinion, the only way that Bitcoin is going to be bearish and is basically going to label this as a fake out is if we close back into this range convincingly on a weekly time frame. Okay, if we move back in this range and this is labeled a fake out, okay, and we close here on the weekly, then I think we're likely going to take these out. But until this happens, I think that your momentum should probably still be to the upside for Bitcoin, as this move is very impulsive. And we know that markets like to move in waves of 3s and 5s. So potentially, you know, we're looking from this impulse, one move here, and maybe there's a 2 here and then a 3 up here, okay, which is a potential. And we know that Bitcoin is the better play here because we've been speaking about Bitcoin dominance for a long time. I have expected Bitcoin to do and perform a little bit better in this bear market, but so far it's showing a lot more resilience and strength coming off of these lows. And you can see that actually, again, order blocks are really important to notice, okay, and test, because you can see that we actually broke out from this trend line over here on the Bitcoin dominance chart, and we basically moved up, come back down, retested the trend line perfectly in confluence with this order block over here. So I am expecting continued dominance for Bitcoin, okay, to maybe re-challenge these range highs. I don't see why not. So until Bitcoin moves up another 8-9% in dominance, okay, I wouldn't be looking to shifting into any altcoins just yet. So I hope you got some value from this video, and it has given you a little bit more clarity with what is most likely to happen in the shorter term. These videos are very time sensitive, so go ahead and like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell icon to make sure that you get all my videos when they are released. And until the next one, I'll catch you in the next video.